Good evening and welcome to Flat Earth United Kingdom with me, Nathan Oakley, and Robbie Davidson of the YouTube channel Celebrate Truth. How you doing, Robbie, first and foremost?
Doing wonderful. Thanks for having me on, Nathan. It's a pleasure being here.
It's good to have you. Let's get straight into it. You're doing a massive, massive conference for Flat Earthers. Hooray! Tell us all
Yeah,
about it.
it's
Why?
very, it's
Why have you
very,
done
very
it?
exciting. Well, I mean, it started actually. I put out a documentary film last year called Scientism Exposed. And in that film, when we were prepping for it, I had reached out to Brian Mullen. And right from the start, Brian Mullen and his wife were just absolutely incredible, really supportive. And anyways, we basically came out with the documentary film in November 21st of last year. It's called Scientism Exposed for anyone that hasn't seen it. And well, anyways, afterwards we started talking about, a lot of people didn't know, and we were going to release the news this year that we were doing the sequel. Actually, it's going to be a three-part series, so there'll be Scientism Exposed 1, 2, and 3. Well, anyways, Nicole started thinking, hey, let's do a big premiere. Let's do a movie premiere. Let's rent out a theater and let's make this into a big event. And one thing led to another, and then I started thinking, well, if we're going to have a big event around this, let's make it, even bigger, and let's bring more people in, and let's not just make it about a movie premiere. Let's just add some people, kind of like a big meetup. And then we started talking some more, and it just got bigger and bigger. And said, you know what? Let's look into it. We think it's really important for the community. We had seen a lot of things around the community and just things that were going on, and we're like, you know what? We really need something like this. Let's look into it and see what the logistics are. Let's see what the costs are. To actually pull off, an international conference in the sense of bringing in, some pretty big people and just having a big presence. And one thing led to an next, and we started putting that together. So we were really excited, kind of planning and putting everything together, and then being able to launch it. Actually, last Saturday is when we launched it to the public. It was at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time in North America. And yeah, now that it's out, it's been fantastic. And like I said, when I started reaching out to different people that we were asking to be involved in it, I wasn't sure at the beginning, what the response would be, because part of what we were doing was there was a certain risk involved, because once you sign all these deals with the hotel and the venue and there's so much stuff, again, we're kind of out that money if nobody showed up or there was no tickets to be sold. But we decided early on, you know what, this is worth it. Let's do it. Even if no one comes, we'll do a movie premiere or whatever. But we thought it was worth the risk, so we ended up doing it. But then when I got on the phone and started talking to different people, I mean, the support was just overwhelming as far as just how supportive and positive people were about this. So we started telling them a bit about our plans and just different things that we were going to do over the 2 days, and just the special things that we have planned. And we have a lot of other things that we haven't even mentioned to anyone yet. So we've got some really nice surprises planned for, the Flat Earth International Conference in Raleigh, North Carolina, November 9th and 10th. So yeah, it's super exciting. Like I said, it hasn't even been a week. Tomorrow will be 1 week, and there's just been so many things happening. So we're really excited.
So what is it? So when I hear the word conference, I immediately think sort of business. So what exactly is a Flat Earth conference?
Well, what a conference entails, if you actually look at the definition, it's basically learning. And what we wanted to do was make sure that the presentations we're going to be opening the event to the media and to the press. This is open invitations. We actually even have tickets reserved for press and media that are seriously looking at covering this. And we felt at the beginning, whether it's good press or bad press, it's still press. And that's the one thing that's really important, is we need more people to say, hey, wait a minute, there's a lot of people that are interested in this topic. It's probably kind of crazy, but some of these presentations, they're making some sense. So again, the presentations would be on a learning type of thing. The stuff that, each one of us, when we came to this subject, we kind of laughed at it or going, what are you talking about? And then we started looking into it. We started getting educated on true science. We started getting educated on our world, on what we see through observation, through our senses. And so really what comes down to a conference is basically learning. There's different sessions that people will learn. Now, there'll be a lot of people there that, have already learned certain things like this, but there'll be a lot of people that will come that will be curious. And again, it's just good information that will be presented, but also, to basically bring people together, whether it's a conference or a convention or these type of things. It basically builds up the community. It almost moves it into a next phase. It's almost like, we've been doing a lot of things online, and we felt that the minute that this happens, people are going to meet face to face. The name calling is probably going to be minimized a bit, there's going to be reconciliation with certain people that maybe in the past things have been said. But you know what? When you're face to face, it's incredibly hard to be rude or, these type of things. I mean, I was even surprised when Eric Dubé, had got back to me, and even though he declined and said he was very busy, he said, "I stand behind you." His exact words were, I support what you do. Keep it up, peace. But the very fact that Eric Dubé, was saying that, I think that we're moving into a next phase where people are settling down. I think in the immature stages, people are fighting and calling people names, even Globers, these type of things. I think after a while, people are going to look at this is a lot bigger than just individuals or different egos or whatever. This is a big deal. And it's like when we come together, even though we have our differences, we all align on the same principle that we've been lied to about the world we live in. And I don't care where you stand on this, pretty much everyone would agree that we don't believe that we're a flying ball, a spinning ball flying through space. And that's kind of what is the important thing. So we're going to bring things to the table. We're going to bring, flat earth and the Bible in there. We're going to bring scientific method. We're going to bring force aligned with Brian Mullins and physics. We're going to bring a lot of things. Like the one thing with FEIC, when we started organizing and kind of founding it, we said it was important that we bring people in from all beliefs and all backgrounds. It's not, even though that the organizers, we both, Brian and myself, we both Christians. This is not a Christian or a religious conference. It is not a religious flat earth conference. Again, we are the organizers. That's our faith. But again, we're not pushing that there. We know that the Bible and that the Christian realm has a big population inside the flat earth. But again, there are all these different areas that people are doing an amazing work, and we wanted to make sure that we include everyone in there. So we're not looking to be biased, or we're not looking to have, some people have accused us of turning it all into corrupting it into basically, it's all going to be flat earth in the Bible. But clearly, if you go to fe2017.com, you can see that there's one session in the 2 days, Flat Earth and the Bible. The rest, we're bringing in people like, Mark and Patricia, Jaron, the Globebusters crew, different people like this are going to be represented. And we've told them, as far as, it's a family-friendly event. That's another thing, that children will be there. People are bringing them out to look at it as education. So we're really excited. The fact that the media press will be involved in this, family will be involved, children will be there. And this is a great educational endeavor and also a community building event that we think that is going to be historic in years following, and what it's going to continue to do, because we plan to do this, once a year, and this is the first annual, FEIC. So we're excited.
I mean, it's one where, even though it's in its initial stages, you've definitely had a background in events management and you know what you're doing. So for anybody who's out there thinking, oh, this is a bunch of amateurs putting it on, au contraire, it's very, very professional. And something you touched on just a second ago is about the community building. And they're probably going to hate me for mentioning their names, but ODD got in touch with Patricia Steer, I think it was today, and she mentioned it earlier on a Skype conversation, and buried the hatchet and was all apologetic, and essentially said exactly what you did. He echoed your sentiments. They're going to have to put some of the immaturity and shill calling behind them and accept the fact that that's just down to paranoia. If you've been deceived in the hugest way possible, which we all have, you're going to be paranoid. And we're moving past that. Those are the teething stages. We're moving into the second phase, however you want to phrase it. But you've touched on this a little bit already, but the kind of why do this? Also, what's in it for you?
Well, I mean, honestly, when it comes down to it, we were looking at doing, like I said, it started off as doing a movie premiere for Scientism Exposed 2. We wanted to, rent out a theater and make it into a big event because we were excited, and that was kind of a separate thing. So the entire motive behind it started off as something as far as promoting the sequel to my documentary film, Scientism Exposed. But again, once we got talking and we just started talking about the community, and we just thought this was honestly so important. One of the big things we did and we made sure of is we tried to keep the prices as low as we possibly could go to cover costs. We also decided that we were going into this to probably lose money the first year. Most first year conferences lose money. We went into it knowing this, but we've also said to people that as popularity is there, as the excitement, we definitely plan on putting it into the event to make it the best event it can possibly be. So we have things in mind to make it better and better. So again, it is two businesses coming together to basically create this as far as that endeavor. But we've talked to the people featuring these type of things. Our motive is not to make a profit. Like I said, I mean, most times it's after the third year you might make a profit. But again, even if we do make a profit, we will make sure that we each year, as time goes on, be able to make it more accessible for people to get out. That we'll have more of a fun, because we know that we want to make sure that everyone that makes FEIC, possible, that makes it into the event that it is, that we're rewarding them that way, because it wouldn't be, it wouldn't be what it is without them. So, everyone's on the same page. When we reached out, we said, hey, this is what we're doing, and everyone was, like I said, incredibly supportive. We have exhibitors that are signing up that want to have that. We're keeping prices as low as we can go, and you can look around and look at conferences, and I mean, you can see them as high as $500 and $600 and $700 for a 2-day conference. I mean, we kept them incredibly low at $109 for the early bird. I mean, and we know, if you honestly go to the conference and you don't feel it was worth the money, you can talk to us. But honestly, we are gonna. I mean, you're gonna have the Flat Earth Award Show with Mark and Patricia hosting that. You're gonna have a movie premiere. This is optional in the evening. You've got different sessions going on. We're gonna have some great vendors, some sponsors. I mean, it's going to be a really great time. So, I mean, for a lot of people that are skeptical and like, why and what's the motive and stuff, I mean, we're not going to shy away from saying that, yeah, this is a business. We are doing this, but we honestly know that in order to effectively do it, that we have to make sure that it's done right. It's done, and it's representing the community well too. And that was one other thing that we wanted to make sure of when I was working on the website and the app development with Android and Apple, and just the entire presence. We wanted to make sure that it was a professional. It was set up in such a way that people would be proud to be part of it, or to promote it, or just to be behind it. Because again, we're looking a lot bigger than just internally within the community. We're looking at the world itself outside, that are looking in and saying, hey, what's going on there? And we knew that once this took place, that not only would it help meeting people, meeting face to face, and helping with just certain things within the community internally, but externally, people would basically be able to do what they do best. They would be able to continue. People would admire kind of what they're doing, and they would be able to push forward with this. And we honestly really believe that something beautiful is happening just even in the first week. The emails, the response, just the people reaching out, and what this is going to create, it is going to be absolutely amazing. And we're so excited. And honestly, we want to make sure that we make it possible. And that's why, even if it gets to a point that people can't attend it, we want to have streaming, abilities. We want people to be included. We're going to look to accommodate people. If there's certain people out there in the Flat Earth community that are doing great work and great research, and maybe they don't feel that they were called on or talked to, I mean, reach out to us. We're open to working with people. We're growing this down the road. We might have 2 tracks where we could have lots more, people in there doing presentations. So this is not like where we're just deciding a certain group of people and that's the group of people going forward forever. We're looking at working with everyone if they can see the big purpose of this. If you go to the About Us section of the website, you will clearly see exactly what our mission statement is. You'll see exactly what we've called out to do. And this is what we're going to do. And we're going to do the best job we possibly can.
Yeah, obviously, as soon as you announced it, you had a certain amount of skepticism. And it's frustrating in Flat Earth that we have to immediately justify something that may or may not make profit. And the fact that you have to use a term like profit in language that makes it seem like it's a dirty word, it's an outrage. In any other section of the word, in any other section of society, making a profit would be deemed a worthy thing to be doing. It seems in Flat Earth, people believe the truth should not be monetized, and it's complete nonsense. We live in a commercial world, unfortunately. We may not like it, but that's the world we live in. And
oh yeah, and it takes, and I mean, and to do these things, sometimes people think that you can just, hey, just invite 500 people to an event and you're all good. But again, there's costs associated for the tables and for the space. And I mean, people can go out and look into what it would be to rent a place to hold 500 people, and you can see the cost yourselves. I mean, when you're starting to develop websites and like apps and these different things, again, we know that a lot of people are going to be looking in. So again, for us, it's not even about the internal people coming, or they're skeptical or whatever. Again, it's the outside world that are looking at this and they're saying, wow, well, at least this is really professional. And wow, there must be something to this, because why would someone want to actually become professional in the sense of building something or even moving a business in that matter if it's not something to actually be looked at as seriousness, right? And then when you've got all these different people of all different backgrounds, all different beliefs, presenting this material, then you can't even put someone in the same, area and say, well, wait a minute, there's some pretty educated people. I mean, Brian Mullen, I mean, he's a structural engineer. I mean, he has degrees, right? Like, again, so if they're looking for qualifications, they're going to find them. If they're looking for the spiritual or religious part, they're going to find them. If they're going to find people that have nothing to do with either of those, but they're just kind of taking on, NASA and space and making people question things, this is all great, because again, I get in discussions every day with people, and all I do, just like Scientism Exposed, and the reason why I came out with Scientism Exposed was to come out with something that did not have flat earth in the title, and that didn't have anything to do with religion or anything. It just basically presented something where people could go, huh, that's interesting. I'm going to go search on that. If they got one little question out of that entire documentary film and they went away and saying, I'm going to look into the moon landing. Yeah, that is kind of weird, that we've only gone 400 miles in the last 43 years, but yet in the 1960s, we went 240,000 miles. I mean, that makes people think. I'm sorry, right? So then once they do, and I honestly really believe that when it comes down to the moon landing, I think it's pivotal when you're talking to someone, especially conspiratorial. If they doubt the moon landing, they'll pretty much be open to a lot of other things. But if they believe they landed on the moon, you've got your work to do with the moon, not flat earth. I mean, you have to do baby steps. It's almost like jumping from JFK right to the moon landing. I mean, you've got to work up to 9/11 and chemtrails and Sandy Hook or whatever. But on that whole spectrum, you can't jump people. I know we're excited and we want to go, hey, dude, the world is flat, right? But this is such a shock. I mean, for me, I'm a hardcore truther. I've been in the truth movement for over like 20 years. And all I'm saying is the stuff that I've investigated, I am open to anything. When I came across a flat earth video, I laughed at it. Okay. So what I'm saying is if it's a shock to the system for a guy like me, what is it to someone that really honestly believes the official story of 9/11? For them to learn that there's really evil men that run this world, and there's really, these type of things really are a shock to the system. So what I wanted to do with Scientism Exposed is kind of walk them up, gradually, and just ask those questions and start probing so they could start thinking of it. Because even in the entire film, flat earth isn't mentioned once. Nobody on camera mentions flat earth, but we hint at it. We're like, could they have lied to you about the world? And so as we continue on that journey with Scientism Exposed 2, even into Scientism Exposed 3, we will go deeper and deeper into this mystery, right? So again, the first one is just to grab their attention. It's like, okay, you got me. I want to go and see where this goes, right? And then we will go into other branches of scientism, like the vaccination industry or getting into climate change. But overall, we're still going to touch on the master one, the cosmology, and getting into the lies of, the main scientism that basically have attacked the notion that you're just an accident, you're just random, this whole thing is just by chance. There is no intelligent design behind it. And to me, that's the biggest, brutalist thing that people learn, because it just kills their self-esteem, it kills purpose, and honestly, it's a blatant lie. So hopefully, with what we're doing, we can expose that. And with the conference, really a lot of these things, I mean, there'll be children there coming, and I'm sure there'll be parents that'll be saying, this is curious, let's hear this, let's research this, let's look into this. How many people might go there that really haven't come out because they're maybe scared or something, and once they come to a conference like this, they're going to be like being around all these people, they're going to go, yeah, I'm going to be bold now, and they're going to go back, and all of a sudden up goes a new YouTube channel, right? I'm getting out there. How many people are going to actually come out with this after something like this? I would imagine a lot, because I'll tell you, when you're around a lot of people in person, something happens. I've seen it time and time again. You can take any type of gathering for any type of topic, you feel energized, you feel powerful, and you develop some amazing relationships. And it will be important for people that are doing YouTube channels or working in this movement in any which way, because down the road, to sit there and say someone's a CIA agent when you've hung out with them for a couple of days and they're just normal people, right? They're just normal people. They got kids or they got this, or, I mean, when they see me, if I'm accused of things, they're going to see me with my daughter and my wife. And all I'm saying is things change a little bit. And sure, there'll still be people that are the keyboard warriors and they'll still accuse things, but bit by bit, more people that come out, or the bigger these type of events go. And it's great that there's ones going on in Europe, the one that you're doing soon, at the Space Center. I mean, these are fantastic things. It brings people together, and honestly, it starts moving from there. It's all about one person at a time. And it's important that especially the people that are on the forefront of, doing interviews or doing research or doing music videos or doing whatever they're doing, artwork, it could be anything. It could be even building certain merchandise. These people come together because, again, we all work together in the common purpose that we are exposing a blatant, massive lie that we've been told about our world.
So talk us through it then. So if you've started off with the idea of having a movie premiere and it's molded into what we have now, if you were a person watching this and you had no idea what you would expect, you bought a ticket and you're going to walk through the front door, and this may well lead on to the who's going to be there, but talk us through what the experience of the event will actually be.
Well, I mean, you could go to FE2017.com and you can see that we have it laid out. Now that's subject to change, but we have definitely, I mean, in the morning it'd be registration. Brian and I are going to be kicking it off for the first 15 minutes, just having an intro. I think ODD is actually kicking it off with Flat Earth 101. So he's going to give, I mean, he's actually been in contact with me. He's already starting to work on his presentation already. And I mean, it's like 10 months away. So it's like people are getting real serious about this, right? They want to put on a spectacular presentation or a talk, or we're going to have great panels. Again, it's not just people speaking on subjects. We have panels as well that people are Q&A. People from the audience are going to be able to ask questions, and people will be able to respond. Like I said, we're going to have like a Flat Earth awards show, so for the entertaining value, like I said, there'll be a movie premiere of Scientism Exposed 2. There'll be an awards show throughout the session. I mean, Rob Skiba is going to be giving a brilliant presentation, testing the globe. You got Globebusters Live, so you got Jaron, you've got the Morgal, and you got Bob Nodell, all three of them together for the first time. They haven't even met. Jaron and Bob, have been working for like 2 years. And, honestly, I mean, I understand maybe if someone's in Europe and someone's in America, that's a little bit harder and stuff. But again, they are, they're in the same country. It is further away, but this is exciting even for them because now it's like they're going to be able to meet, and not only that, they're going to be able to meet everyone else. I mean, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to show up. We're going to have some great sessions, and it's yeah. I mean, you can actually go to fe2017.com and you can see the schedule and you can see the way it's laid out. And we think that we have some really good presentations. Mr. Thrive and Survive, breaking down the lies of science. We've got the Controversy 7, Emmanuel. Which I think he might just be close to 100,000 subs by today. He's about 99,000 subs, which is incredible. Like I was just talking to him. He's actually, I don't know if you know the story, but when Patricia had shared his video, said, "Hey, look, new flat earther, everyone go support him," or whatever. I went over to his video and I'm watching his video, and all of a sudden I look in the bottom of the screen and he's like, he had his phone number. And I'm like, huh, that's my area code. That's actually my number almost. It was like 2 digits off. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. This guy lives not in my, country. He doesn't just live in my, province. He lives in my city and he lives close. So I give him a call. I'm like, dude, where do you live? And he's like, Canada. And I'm like, I know Canada. Where do you live? He's like, Edmonton. I'm like, oh, wow. But anyways, it turned out that he actually lived about 2 blocks away from where I met my wife. So before, we got married, she had actually lived with a roommate in Edmonton. She's actually from New Zealand, so she was traveling around in Canada. But anyways, she lived 2 blocks away from where he lives currently. So when I went to meet him and we had like 2 or 3 lunches together, we started doing a show together called Controversial Truth, where we did like a flat earth show, and it was a lot of fun. But anyways, we're still working together. He's in Scientism Exposed. We got some really cool stuff planned for the sequel. And I talk to him, every few days. But the cool thing was, here was a guy right in my own city, I could sit down and just talk with, and we could go through it. But it was amazing. Like I said, when I started talking with the Controversy 7, I think he was at around 30,000 subs. Well, like I said, he's at 100,000 right now, or just almost. And once you get to 100,000 subs on YouTube, YouTube actually send you a bronze plaque of like your play button and stuff. It's a big deal for YouTube once you hit 100,000 subs. I mean, there's like 10 and 50, but really YouTube starts to really recognize you at that level. But I'm just like, I'm just excited watching it because, like I said, 100,000 subscribers, that's a big chunk, right? So he had a couple videos that he put out right before Christmas, and I couldn't believe my eyes. He couldn't either. It did 250,000 views in one day. He did 1 million views on one video in 3 days. He did one on Trump, and he did another one, I think, on The Simpsons or something like this. But he does a lot of exposing the media and the elite and Hollywood and these type of things too. But anyways, all that to say that Emmanuel will be there, and he does some amazing presentations, but he does some incredible stuff when it comes to flat Earth. And we've had some really good talks. And he's a smart dude. He's got a background as well in science. So again, when it comes to credentials, when it comes to people, it's not just a bunch of conspiracy theorists or people with tinfoil hats that are going to be at this conference. You're going to see families, you're going to see businessmen, you're going to see every spectrum. You'll see hippies, you'll see, and that's the cool thing about it. You're seeing all these people come together, and it's like, wait a minute, we can't ignore this anymore. And I think that at this point, the science, I already heard, I already got notice that there's already a bunch of buzz going on in some of the scientific groups and stuff like that, and they're just livid about what's going on. They're laughing and they're ridiculing it, but again, it's getting on the radar as far as the presence and going to the website and looking at all the stuff that's being developed.
I'm talking of getting on the radar. I don't normally take questions from the chat, but in this instance, Eric Doylan asked quite a good question. I think I already know the answer, but I'll pose it to you anyway. So do you think that the powers that should not be will try and prevent this event from happening, like blacking out the lights or something along those lines?
I personally don't. I mean, like, a lot of people will think it's like, oh, they're trying everything in their power to stop everything right now. I honestly, personally, don't believe we're at that critical mass yet where it's even like a big concern, because they have basically the people in general, our neighbors, that will just laugh at us, right? So until that starts shifting, where the neighbors are actually, our neighbors are going, yeah, you're right, and then our other neighbors are going, yeah, then I think that they might actually start looking, say, hey, we got a major threat coming. But up until now, it's ridiculed, it's laughed at. I mean, they mock it. People use it in comedy shows. They use it in forms of speech as the most insane thing there is. And honestly, we're going to use that to our advantage, saying, hey, check this out. There is the most craziest conference ever going on. Check it out, right? And letting people look into it, because I think people are going to get curious, because they're curious in the sense of like, wait a minute, didn't they believe that years ago? How is it that people in modern day society are going to believe that the world is flat? It's going to cause a lot of people to question. But personally, I don't think so. I mean, we're expecting. I mean, if there's protests out the door, science community or whatever, it's great publicity. It's awesome. I mean, we're going to have security there. We are prepared in the event that somebody tries to come to disrupt it. I don't know why they'd pay for the ticket to disrupt it. You can't even get in unless you pay. So one of those things will, a lot of people might threaten online, but the fact is, are they actually going to pay, book their ticket, come there? Even if they do, it won't last long and they'll be gone, because we will have security. But we are hoping, if there would be, I don't know who would protest it, but hopefully someone will protest it and, be out there as far as the media coverage and that sort of thing. So we are looking at getting a lot of coverage. That was part of the idea behind it, was this is an event that we can actually use different skills that each one of us have to, write the proper press releases, work with different media, and different ways to word it in such a way that they're very curious, not, wording it such a way saying just this event's going on, saying, don't you think you want to cover this? I mean, this is like, this is something crazy. It's like, so there are ways to actually look at this where we can get, critical appeal in as far as media goes. And we're looking at those avenues, and we have people that are working with us as well. I mean, we'll be reaching out to like Nikon. I think a couple people have, as far as being the official camera sponsor. I mean, people are buying P900s everywhere, so Nikon would be stupid not to. But the question is, do they want to align themselves with the community or the conference? We'll see. But usually when it comes to business, it comes down to dollars. And again, if it's right and the presence is there, they will think it's a great opportunity. So hopefully, we can get a big sponsor like that or something, because again, it just boosts everything up. Maybe they'll give a discount for every person that types in FEIC, get $150 off your camera. At anything, we want to work to benefit the community as a whole. We want to make sure that it's accessible, and we want to make sure that we continually help to build the community and basically start tearing down name calling and different things like this. Hopefully bring a lot of reconciliation. And honestly, I'm seeing it. There's names that I can't even mention right now. I'm already seeing it. Okay. And I know that some people are planning to go there to make amends and stuff. They're like, yeah, I know we've said some stuff, and hey, it'll be a good opportunity to maybe say it, in person. That's the right thing to do. I mean, I could call or I could type, but I think it means something when you look someone in the eyes and say, I'm really sorry, man. I said a lot of bad things to you. The first year you came out, I called you a shill or whatever, right? I've watched you over time. I'm sorry. And people are okay with that. The minute someone says sorry, when you can be a man enough to just say, I'm sorry. People, that's it. they'll brace you in 2 seconds, right? So I think you're going to see a lot of that. I already know a bunch of that's going to be taking place there, just even within my circles. So it's exciting, and I'm going to encourage a lot of people to come out. And the people that are skeptical, or the people that are like suspicious, come out, check it out, because honestly, I think it's going to change your life. Or participate online, because we've got some really special things as far as the online part of it. Behind the scenes, the interviews, the different things. We will include people as part of that day, just like they're there, as close as it can be. And hopefully, if they can't come this year, they'll come the next, or they'll come the year after.
A name you've not mentioned so far, and it's possibly the most excited person about the conference, is Mark Sargent. And he's been tracking Flat Earth in terms of its popularity, and it absolutely tracks with mainstream topics, consistently, and has done for quite some time now. It's amazing, but it's tied in with the concept of having Flat Earth absolutely kept in, not in the forefront of people's mind, but it needs to be there for people to be aware that it needs ridiculing. We're taught from school that it's the idea of cave dwellers, that we've progressed beyond the ideas of flat Earth. And even to this day, when you see flat Earth brought up in the media, people still believe that. They put it into that context where these people have got old-fashioned beliefs. It's phrased that way, and it's hard to get that across to somebody. I've even postulated that we are here in this very small corner of the internet, here to be ridiculed in our very small little bubbles that we are each in. And things like the conference that you're putting on are absolutely wonderful in terms of, we've even mentioned it earlier with Odd and Patricia, people coming together and setting aside the differences, burying the hatchet, and saying, I'm sorry, I paranoia aside, let's move on. Let's make this bigger and better, and dare I say it, profitable for people going forward, because that is what the people in the mainstream will be assessing. We may not want it to be profitable. We may not want people to be making money off the back of it, but that's going to be very preventative in terms of making it reach the masses, getting our message across to people that they have been deceived.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is like over time, I mean, as far as we can, like I said, as time goes on with response, our plans are to take a certain amount of money. I mean, even when it comes to transportation or lodging, Brian and his wife, me and my wife, we paid out of our own pocket. We didn't take it out of the conference funds, right? So everyone is equal on this. We've all let people know, though, as time goes on, if there is more money, we want to make sure that it's accessible in that sense. So, I mean, when it comes down to making sure that we can do this at a very low price and keep prices as low as we can go, sure. Down the road, though, if there's money to be made, great, then we can make bigger strides at getting, we can put stuff together to get a wider appeal. Again, the whole idea, though, is to basically get this message out to a bigger and larger audience, to at one day maybe that we're filling up an entire stadium. Can you imagine an entire stadium being filled, as far as a massive gathering, say 5 years from now or 10 years from now? I mean, at that point, it's international world news. I mean, because again, you're basically shutting down a city. When you're at that level, you have the police directing traffic. I mean, you literally shut down an entire downtown. And I mean, I've been to conferences like that where I was at one years ago in the Kingdom, and it was 70,000 people. I mean, that's an incredible amount of people, right? But even at 10 or 20 or 30,000 people, when you get into these large, I mean, it does turn into, these type of things. And people need to understand that as time goes on, it's not about making a buck. I mean, yes, there will be people that will come in and say, hey, I was working on this type of stuff. Now, if I can make stuff for flat earthers and make money, so what, right? Wouldn't you rather someone actually building really cool stuff that you can actually have on your coffee table? And we will have some really cool exhibitors there. I mean, it's optional. You don't have to buy a flat earth model, or you don't have to buy a keychain or whatever. That's up to you. But a lot of people will want something, right? I mean, they can go out and buy a souvenir or something. So again, to have flat earth souvenirs, I mean, you could look at it and say, oh, people are making money off flat earth. It's optional. No one's forcing you to buy it, but there'll be a lot of people that want to buy it. And that will help these people to build and do better things, to actually become bolder and build better websites and, make a presence. So we all benefit from this, as this will move in, and it's inevitable. It will happen. The worst thing to happen, though, is someone to move in that's really shady to completely, destroy the whole movement. And this is where the skepticism is. All I can say, as far as Brian and me are concerned, being the organizers and kind of founding the entire idea, was look at our credibility, or look at our past. We've been around for a while. We've said that we're going to do certain things. We execute them. Overall through this whole time, most people could vouch for us, right? So really, I'm saying when it comes down to it, sometimes it's a level of trust. But what I'm saying is it comes down to character. And for us, honestly, there's the verse that we go by, kind of our mission statement is a great name is worth more than riches. And honestly, we want to be able to have a good name, not just for us, but for the whole community. So for us, it's damaging in the sense that if we try to do anything to actually hurt the community's reputation or that sort of thing, then we're not doing our job. And that's why we want to make sure that when people went to FE 2017 and they looked at it, they're proud. They're saying, you know what, I'm behind this because it's done well, it's done professional, and I stand behind it. And if anyone has questions as far as pricing or whatever, we worked with the hotel to get the best possible deal. I mean, they got free shuttle from the airport. You got free transportation. I mean, that cuts a lot of money out. You got free breakfasts every morning. You got free Wi-Fi. So we worked and made sure to accommodate the best possible deal we could. And as we grow, we can work even better deals with venues because we can say, hey, we can bring in this many people. So we can bring the price and we can keep it low. And that's our idea. We're not looking at, if that were the case, we would charge $500 a ticket. And then everyone could scream bloody murder and say, these guys, they're all about the money. The crazy thing is we'd probably still sell it. I mean, our VIPs, which we only had a select few, they sold out in like 2-3 days. But again, the VIP was just more if you want to have front row and, more behind the scenes, that type of thing. It was an optional thing, but it sold out fast. So the reality is, and we were well aware that if we charged a big amount of money, it would still sell. Maybe not as many, but the fact is we'd probably make more money, but it wasn't about money. We went into this looking to lose money the first year, possibly maybe break even the second year, and then maybe make a profit on the third year. This is what we discussed going forward, and this is kind of what we're holding to still, no matter what happens with the first year. If there is a lot of extra, we'll put it into the people that basically made it possible, like the people that were featured that are coming, staff, we will make it. But we also are putting it into people's, their kind of journey and their experience there. We have plans to give certain things to people that are going to attend there. So we are allotting a certain amount of money to give things. They will have something physical in their hand. They will have a nice bag with lots of goodies, so we're looking at, most conferences is what they do. They have things that you can walk away with. So we thought it was important that somebody, regardless if they don't want to buy one thing at the conference, they're going to walk away with some stuff and they're going to say, that was definitely worth the money. So when it comes down to, money or making a profit, I can just encourage everyone that I can guarantee, for 99% of you, you will walk away and say that was one of the best $109 ever spent. If you take part of the early bird, and if you don't, up till April 20th, it goes to 129, and then the full price after October or September or whatever is like 149. So what I'm saying is you got lots of time, but even at 149, you will get your money's worth.
It's hard to get across to somebody. I've got involved with lots of shows, conferences, exhibitions, and things of that nature. You kind of want to reach a stage where everybody involved is benefiting. Obviously, there's going to be money exchanging hands from all parties, but if it's an exhibition, everybody who's exhibiting is still paying, and the exhibitor is still paying for the space and so on and so forth. But the exhibitor's going to get to a point where they're pleased that they've displayed their wares. The people who come are pleased that they've seen all the wares that are available. And you get down the chain and everyone's happy. Yes, you still have to hand over cash at some point. That has to be paid for that to take place. But that's ultimately the end game, to make it profitable. And that's what profitable means, not just cash, of benefit to everybody.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like I said, I mean, for the people that are looking at it from that angle, we have if it's an 80-20 split, 80% nothing but positivity. So what I'm saying is, yes, you can't please everyone, and there will always be people that will come. This is I think it's good for all us, even people in the community, to know this is we're always going to get attacked. We might get a lot of love, but we're going to get attacked as well. So we need to learn not to take things personal. We need to let our reputation speak in volumes for who we are long term. And whether it's a chance to meet face to face, that will actually be the deciding factor, or it will just be like, okay, he says he's going to do this. Maybe there's a lot of people saying, oh, you know what they're going to do? They're going to take all this money and run away. The conference will never happen. What are they going to say when the conference does happen? So what I'm saying is, if I've made sure that in my history under Celebrate Truth, if I say I'm going to release a DVD, or if I'm going to release a video, or I'm working on a documentary, or whatever I say, whatever I commit to do, I follow through. And with this, it's the same thing. And I can assure everyone, regardless what happens, we're on the hook for that venue and all that money. And if it's just Brian and I sitting in there, we'll do it. But we have to, because again, it's already paid for. So it's not like this event's going to get canceled. It's not like, people are going to lose their money. Again, it's $109. Have some faith. Just trust it, and I can assure you it's going to be a great, great time. And if you are going to participate online, we're going to give you a great experience there as well. We've got a 4-man crew coming in with 4 different level cameras. We've got walkarounds. I wanted to make sure, in the understanding of putting on a really good conference, and I wanted to put on something that would happen after 5 years in the first year. So I was looking at all these different things that need to be done, especially on the audio visual side, and just the graphics, just the video work. I mean, that's what I specialize as well in, not just with web and social media and stuff like this, but I do a lot of video work and stuff. So we want to make sure that the presentation is well and everything goes off, well. We've got contingency plans or backup plans in case, like you said, the power goes out or something like this. We've got things that we'll have in mind no matter what happens. But I can definitely assure people that people spend money on a lot of things in life, and $109 on the early bird American for a 2-day experience like this, just the fact of being able to meet everyone that you're going to be able to meet, the people that you've been talking to all this time, you're going to be able to meet there. And there's a lot of people already working together. We worked with the hotel in itself so that up to 5 people could stay in a room, because you have 2 queen size beds plus a fold out continual size bed as well. So what I'm saying is there'll be people that will like, hey, do you want to split a room? Do you want to come together? So we made it sure that like we could keep it really accessible. So for example, if 2 people were split in the room, it's $75 a night. If 3 people split the room, obviously it gets cheaper and cheaper. So again, these are the things that people can, if it's a cost thing, or they really want to go. Again, we made sure that there was enough time and that we kept the price as low as we possibly could go to make this accessible. Because honestly, I think this is going to be an event of a lifetime. It's going to be a trip of a lifetime. It's going to create something going forward that people are going to get excited every year. I can't wait to the next FEIC. I think they're going to be like that. And again, we're going to be completely working with other events in other parts of the world as well too. I'm already going to be talking with the organizer of the European one. We've been in contact. Like I said, you want support as well for kind of what you're doing, Nathan. Reach out to us. We're all in this together. So as far as event planning or exposure or getting meetups, I think there's so many things that we need to talk about, and we will talk about, throughout the year and at FEIC. But even the fact of having an organized kind of meetup structure where, I mean, there should be meetups going on every week in every city. There should be structured ways of doing this across the world. There are ways to do this, but when we collectively start one by one deciding these things, an event like this will start pooling people together and saying, hey, this is great. Can we work together? Sure, we can work together. Let's work together. So we're willing to work with everyone as far as basic tenants, as far as any of the presenters. It's a family friendly event. There's no vulgarity. Let's be adults about this. And again, I always say this too: nobody says that we all have to be best friends and buddies, but let's be professional. Let's be good at what we do. Let's be professional. So no one's saying that everyone that goes to FEIC have to be best friends. I mean, that's just, you can't have that happen. But what I'm saying is you can be cordial, you could be adult, you could be professional. You can say, this is bigger than just people. This is the world here that are lost in this deception. Let's do what we do best. Let's collectively come together and let's get this out in massive numbers. So that's kind of my prayer. That's my hope with everything that's going to happen, is it's really going to allow people to say, you know what, like maybe I don't get along with this person and this person, but I can go up and shake their hand. Great job, like thanks for coming or whatever. But then I can do a powerful presentation. That's why we reached out to Matt Powerland. That's why we reached out to Eric Dubé, because it's not about individual conflicts. And I know that there's been hurtful things said, but really, if Eric Dubé came and he gave just a killer presentation on what he does best on destroying that globe, it'd be phenomenal, and there'd be so much support behind it. But again, just like everyone else, there's certain rules you can't do. If he decided to go up and talk about his views on the Jews, he wouldn't be allowed to. Now, if he did that, he just wouldn't be invited back again. Right? That goes for everyone. Mark Sargent said the other day on his show, he says, look, if I got carried away and I started going off and doing this thing and breaking the rules, they're going to kick me out just like anyone else. So the rules apply for everyone. It's across the board. So as long as people are cordial, they're professional, they come, anyone's welcome. And that goes for Eric Dubé, that goes for Matt Powerland. We encourage it because, again, they're a big reason that a lot of people are talking about what they're talking about currently right now is because of these people, right? So personalities aside, religions aside, we come together, we respect people for what they do, I definitely talk to more of an audience when it comes to the religious side, the Christian side, but also people that are curious on that end. But if you're not curious and you're not interested in it, well, go to Jaron or go to Nathan's video or go to Patricia's, her interviews with, I mean, that's the beautiful thing about Patricia. She'll interview anyone, she'll interview anyone on her show. And it doesn't matter, she'll reach out even to Eric Dubé. I mean, he'll decline, but she reaches out. And that's the whole idea, that we have to have that idea, I think, is that we just have to reach out to people and understand that we don't all have to be best friends. We don't even have to agree with one another. We just have to say, but what do we agree on? We don't agree. It's that spinning ball flying through space, right? And once we do that, now we come together and we do presentations, we do interviews, we make paintings, we make music, we do whatever we do best to basically hit that home, because the world needs to know they've been lied to.
Why did you pick the location you did?
The location, well, again, it's very, very simple. But again, I live in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. In November, it's very cold. It's about minus, I don't know, 20. It could get to about minus 20. So, I mean, in North Carolina, I mean, it's not as cold. It's a little chilly. But really, the reality is this, that as a first year, we thought it was important that we keep it home base, meaning that close to contacts, no media contacts. The venue, you could actually visually see it. You could sit down with the venue manager. You know what I mean? You could discuss face to face. This whole idea we're talking about right now, face to face. So really, it came down to that Brian and his wife were going to host it for the first year. We floated other cities around, trust me. And we are saying that yes, Raleigh, North Carolina is the first year, because Brian and his wife, that is where they live. This is home base for them. But we are not saying that that is where it's going to be the next year or the year after. We have big cities in mind, but in order to pull off those big cities, we have to nail what we can do, here, and being close to things, whether it's marketing materials, or whether it's, rather than basically booking venues where we can't see, we can't sit down, these type of things. So we wanted to make sure that it was in one of our locales, and trust me, it was a lot better location than Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. So I mean, for some people in Canada, they might disagree, but what I'm saying, for the majority of people, but we definitely, I mean, we might move over to the West Coast, for the next year. We might pick a very, very big city that's just massive and that everyone knows that city, because I understand that a lot of people are like, Raleigh, where's Raleigh? I mean, who's heard of Raleigh, right? I mean, it's not like a Detroit or a Chicago or a New York or a, Los Angeles. But trust me, the goal is to get to a point where, the Flat Earth International Conference is in LA or in New York or in Chicago. It will be in a big city. We will move around. We won't just stay in one city forever.
What about the timing then? I've heard you answer this a couple of times, but why did you pick the date that you did? And if you can repeat that date, just so people can get that.
Sure. The conference will be on November 9th and 10th. And the reason is very simple. I released the Scientism Exposed in November of last year. And like I said, when we started talking about the event and everything like this, in order to release the premiere of Scientism Exposed 2, I wanted to release it around the same time. So really the timing came down to that. When we started discussing, as far as dates and stuff, we really kept to November, because we really wanted to give a lot of time for people to save, to plan, to get time off work, whatever they needed to do. The worst thing would be for us to release something and say it's in 2 months. This is a big trip. And for a lot of people, I mean, we have people already contacting us that have already booked their flights and have booked their accommodations, and they're coming in from Germany, and they're coming in from all over different parts of Europe. People are flying in. It will be international in that sense. But again, it's one of those things where, a lot of people say, oh, why would you pick that city? I know way better cities. You can't please everyone. And wherever we go, it will be inconvenient for someone. But what our idea and our plan is to move around and to make it accessible for different parts of people. And really, because of the event, because of the nature of the entire experience, people will save, will plan, because it will be the one event of the year that they will be most excited for. Because as we continue to grow, more and more people, and I am totally confident that one day you will be there, Nathan, in person for sure. And we will be like hanging out, because it will be exciting. And again, that's the one cool thing about it, is we are going to continue. This is the first year. We're going to be doing FEIC, 18, 19, 20. This is the plan. It's not going anywhere. So for people that maybe can't get there, or they kind of don't feel like they can be part of this one, have hope, have courage, man, because it's going to happen. It's just going to get bigger, and we're going to want more and more people to fill areas, because we're going to move to 2 tracks instead of just one general session. We're in 1 track, program right now. But once we branch off into 2, and we start to do multiple rooms, I mean, we could do a whole conference where all the Christians could be with the the, learning about the Bible, where someone that's not interested in that could be somewhere else. So what I'm saying is we will over time make sure that people get specialized in their special areas. We could have an entire track just on NASA and space, and that's the entire thing they do for day one, right? Or they want to go look at this aspect. So what I'm saying is, as it continues to grow, we will start expanding, we'll start accommodating more people, and we want to encourage anyone, reach out to us. We're not discriminatory, we're not looking down on anyone or saying we're not recognizing you. We recognize everyone, we want to include everyone. So come alongside us, because as we continue on, man, there's room for a lot of people. Hopefully one day we're going to fill a stadium.
I mean, I've always phrased it that there's many, should I use the derogatory term, globe heads that are in the flat earth arena, and I still consider them flat earthers in the respect that they are in flat earth. They are here amongst us. And when I did the promo for the meetup, I'm going to do nothing like as grand as what you're doing, but at the Space Centre here, I said, come one, come all, Globers, perfectly welcome, because if you're around this campfire, I want to shake you by the hand, because if you're here, at least you're questioning things. If you're debating your side of the fence, that's wonderful. If it wasn't for those, let's call them protagonists, we wouldn't have a debate. It would just be circle jerk. It'd just be us talking amongst ourselves, patting ourselves on the back. So it's hard to say this to a lot of people, but we need to thank those people. We have to have a certain amount of discord for us to make progress. So,
yeah, that's true. That's very true. They're driving us in a way. They're driving us to do better research. They're driving us to, so again, we have to almost be thankful in a way. And honestly, I think it's important for us, to start looking at it like, the name calling and stuff. And I know, I mean, I'm guilty of it myself sometimes, but, we get agitated, we get passionate, but really, when it comes down to like, we have to have a good image, because it's one thing, we're asking people to come into this really, bizarre, out in left field kind of idea. And if all of a sudden the community itself is just slamming them and calling them names, and they're like, forget this, I was even going to look into this, but seriously, if that's the community. So, and I'm not saying that we can police anyone or do anything like this, but what I'm saying is hopefully over time, we're going to get softer on people. We're going to look at it as a bigger mission here, that, we're going to win people over by love, not by hate. And I think a lot of people that I've been approached by, even within even the church circles, because I think some Christian flat earthers will really have it out for other Christians that believe in the globe. And really, they're just like, they feel really hurt. They feel really attacked. So this whole attack, whether it's a glober or it's someone that is kind of there, but they're not quite there. They still believe in the globe, but they still believe in certain lies. We just have to be careful with our words, because honestly, we will win them over by our love. And they will look at us going, say what you want. These guys are really great. You know what I mean? They've treated me respectfully. And yeah, I want to look at that material they sent me. I want to look at that video. But I'll tell you, when you start calling them names and stuff like that, and again, it will happen, but I think we can start minimizing that. And I think that people that come out to, Flat Earth International Conference, after they see this, and even if there are some people there, I think hopefully when they go back home, they just have a new sense of things. They have an idea that this is a lot bigger than just individuals or personalities. This is a big deal. I mean, people are literally lost in the world of, believing these type of things, and they need to, come to that understanding, or at least look into it. And hopefully we can probe these questions. We can help people. And again, there'll be someone for everyone. So if someone's interested in talking to ODD, or they're interested in talking to Mark Sargent or myself or Emmanuel, all I'm saying is we come from different, beliefs and backgrounds. There's something for everyone. So whether you're turned off by this type of person, or Jaron said something that you didn't really like, it doesn't really matter, because again, he's never claimed to be an expert in that area. But whatever he's an expert in, this is where people will gravitate to. And that's what I say, is that there'll be someone for everyone there. And that's the important thing. But overall, if we start working together and say, yeah, we totally understand we're different, and yeah, we can debate ourselves. I mean, we could talk, Nathan and I here, and we could get into a big debate about something. Sure, long enough we would. But at the end of the day, what do we unify on? What do we have in common? And really, all we're doing is we're trying to get the word out. We're trying to get, this great deception shared. And we're wanting to get it to a critical mass. We're wanting to get it out to the media and a bigger presence. And I mean, we all have basically taken a stand where, being ridiculed. I mean, we're all brave in the sense of actually putting our name out there on this topic, right? So when we do this, we have to understand that we can't do this alone. We can't. We need people with us, alongside of us. And if you try to do this yourself, you'll be crushed, in my opinion. So what I'm saying is, every single person, no matter of the differences, if they are willing to work together, even at a professional level, then allow that to happen. No one says we have to all be best friends and call each other, for 15 minutes every day. Hey, buddy, that doesn't have to happen. But we can say, hey, wow, we're doing some really great things, or say that last video you did, that was awesome, right? So these are the things that I think are really important. So it's a lot bigger than just, teaching and the entertainment and the community. This going forward, I think, is going to, like, it's going to solidify, and it's going to facilitate a lot more bonding, a lot more meaningful relationships going forward, a lot more, lot more love, I'd say.
On that note, I'm going to inject a little bit of cynicism, which
Sure.
is to say that we have a unity that may not get any backlash from the government, or whatever you want to look at it as, because it's specifically flat Earth. But where a lot of us will unify are on topics that are definitely anti-government. Things like you've mentioned with 9/11 truth. Could that possibly be where, if the conference expands out beyond flat Earth, that we get some negative attention?
Oh, and quite possibly, like I said, when it gets into a critical appeal and you're bringing these things out, I mean, there still is laws in place, freedom of speech and different things. Like if you actually do follow the law, we don't have to be worried too much, or that's a big media frenzy on that one, right? Because again, if you have people coming into this that are, lawyers, or that are working even for the government, that are in this movement, like I said, this is where we need to move to the next phase, where also we are protected legally, where we are, looking at these things. So again, when you get into business, or you get into marketing, or you get into the media, or the legal system, we need to utilize this in order to actually create and build and grow bigger. Because if all of a sudden we're sitting there and we really don't understand the law, and we start breaking the law, then we're going to be crushed day one. So if we are doing this ethically, we're doing this, within the law. I think this is one of our biggest advantages, and I'm very encouraged by the future, and hopefully it gets to a point where all of a sudden, they start looking at different ways, and hopefully by that time we have some really good lawyers, that are basically defending the freedom of speech. We're a group like anyone else, in the sense that people are protected for every single thing under the sun, right? So if it comes down to it, as far as protection or these type of things, we will address that when it comes. But like I said, for the first year, I do not see it as a threat, because again, they'll be looking at it like, oh, you got to, again, ridicule, and we're still in the ridicule stage. That's the biggest way that they combat this, is just through humor. So if they are even worried a little bit, you watch, you're going to see Neil deGrasse Tyson dropping mics on the stage some more, or you're going to see, something. But they will use what they can use best, which is the media, which is these type of avenues, is the educational system, and really it's just the people around us. Because the people around us, I mean, why would they even have to step in when the people around us are already doing it for them? And they know that. They know that. So we have to get to a certain point where people see us as dignified, as professional, as, maybe not so vicious. Because I'll tell you, I hear it time and time again, even in my circles, the minute they go start looking into this subject, they're like, whoa. And one thing that really turns people off is not the information, is what they see in social media. And I'm talking for the people that investigate this through social media. With what they see, they're very discouraged and turned off. And if anything, it starts reflecting on me. And I'm like, wait a minute, how can you judge my character based on what you've seen? But again, this is what's happening. So what's getting reflected onto you, Nathan, or me, or Patricia, or whatever, is based on that community. And if all of a sudden people are looking to us to kind of, lead by example, let's lead by example. Right. So we try our best to lead by example. So we have to try our hardest not to do that, video because someone ticked us off, and we're going to mention them by name because, that was awful. We really need to minimize that, because the minute we put something like that out there, the community feeds on it, and they love the rivalry. It's just like the Republican Democrat thing. It's a big illusion. It really is. It shouldn't occur. And again, we're falling for the trap of the whole infighting when we post a video against someone. Even, and I mean, I could post a video against a lot of people. Okay, I could see something they said, I'm like, nope, that's wrong. The Bible tells me this. Way I go. But I'm not personally going to attack anyone. I've said from day one, that is not what God has called me to do. I believe it 100%. People have said, hey, why don't you write a video against this or against that? This is awful. That's not what I'm called to do. So if anything, hopefully I'm called to at least be leading by example. Hopefully that my character will speak volumes, in the sense that no matter what people are going to say about me or Brian or that sort of thing, we want to make sure that people say, you know what, these guys are guys of integrity. These guys are genuine. They put it out there. They don't hide anything. They just are who they are. And honestly, I would love to be one that would lead by example. I'm not always going to do everything right. And I'll be the man enough to say, I'm really sorry if I did, say something, in haste, or, in the heat of the moment. But quite honestly, I think a lot of people are looking up to us, and saying, how do if we go, hey, a bunch of globe heads, and then all of a sudden after this program, they just start calling all these people globe heads because we did. So what I'm saying is we're all guilty of it. I've done it myself, and then I'll be like, wait a minute, when I was a globe head once. Would I want to be called a globe head? It's kind of insulting in a way, right? I don't know, but maybe it's like the N word or something for a racial thing. I don't know. Maybe some person takes that really bad. We don't know. We laugh at it. We think it's a funny term. Maybe there's a person though that really takes that serious, and like how does that affect their life, their self-esteem? We don't know. So these are just words. Again, we can say the sticks and stones break your bones, but names will never hurt you. But we've learned in this society, and they've rose up real big on the whole name thing. And while I think that we have to be careful on the dangerous names, I just think it's polite. I just think that it's civilized. And I think because we're trying to bring people this amazing knowledge, and just to mess with everything they've learned, let's at least have a good representation of at least the big people. When they type in YouTube and they find these channels, they're not seeing that. And some of them we can't stop, and I understand that. But I think that over time, like I said, this is not a year or 2 year thing. This is multi-generational. My children will pick up after me, regardless where you stand on how long we have in this world. But what I'm saying is we need to look at this as like our children. How are they? You know what I mean? The stuff, are they going to watch the videos and going to be proud of dad? Or are they going to be like, wow, dad was really kind of calling people a lot of names? All I'm saying is I want my children to be proud. I want them to take up the mantle in the sense of saying, this is important, carry the torch. But in the meantime, let me be a good example, for people to look at it, and especially the people that are doing the greatest amounts of work. And there's so many, and there's people coming out every day. And the wonderful thing about Patricia and Mark and other people in here is, we give people, hey, support this person. They just came out. So it's a really inviting community. There's no need for us within the community itself to fight each other, because we all are adults and know that we all disagree on subject matter for sure. But that's not the point. That's not the point. We could find someone to debate with, and if you want to find someone to debate with, that's easy. But with this is a big deal, and we all know it that are in this. So let's really come together. Let's start moving this forward in greater ways than we could ever have imagined when we first got into it.
Yeah, there's a huge amount that you said there that resonated with me because of the amount of psychopathy videos I watch. And one of the things that they'll detail when they're talking about concepts and ideas, often when people have been, I don't know, smeared or betrayed or screwed over in some way or another, they will explain that the concept, but they won't give the monster, in inverted commas, the energy by actually naming and shaming them in the video. So they'll very much discuss the concept. So where you say that people may have bones of contention or disagreements, concepts that they don't agree on, it's very easy to, in a civilized way, discuss those concepts without falling out on a personal level. I know Paula, Knowledge Scavenger, and I only chatted with her for the first time the other day. Absolutely fascinating person, telling me about her Bible translations. Hoping to chat to her again if I can get hold of her. But it was really lovely to have a conversation with her where we were at absolutely opposite ends of the scale in our beliefs and our understandings, but there was no heat. There was no there was no animosity between us while we had a very civilized conversation. And it's that professionalism that you're trying to get across at the conference. And on that note, maybe you could round out the who, what, where, why, when of the conference so that we've got it at the end of the video, and then I'll bid you a thank you and thank our audience.
Okay, well, like I said, it's in November 9th and 10th in Raleigh, North Carolina. You can go to the website, fe2017.com. You can find all the information. Like I said, everyone that's featured, I don't want to forget anyone, but Rob Skiba, ODD TV. We've got Mark and Patricia. We got Jaron, Bob, the Morgal. We got Mr. Thrive and Survive, Richard Hopkins. We've got Emmanuel, myself, Brian. We got Amy Denise. We've got Carly Midro. We've got, I'm not sure anyone else I can think of, but anyways, it's all at fe2017.com. You can find out all the information. We have a app for Apple and Android for free. Download it. It's incredibly exciting what's going on the app. We actually are going to have the screens at the conference so that basically as the activity happens, that people are talking, it's going to display on the screen. So you can already see that on the website. If you go to fe2017.com, click on download, you'll already see kind of the activity that's going on in the app. People are posting pictures, talking. We've got some really cool interactivity. We've got a lot of surprises coming throughout the year. We've got got some neat stuff, contests and different things that are going to happen as well. So like I said, we're really excited. We're so thankful of all the support, and just the level of excitement that everyone has shown us for this. And we're just excited to really make it, something really special, just history in the making. And we want to continue to do the community proud and work together on coming together on this really important subject matter.
Absolutely, and it's very admirable that you're doing it at all. It's a huge amount of work, and from me, just in the interim stages, without it even have happening, you've had a huge impact. It's making a difference. People are talking about it. It's drumming up a huge amount of interest, and it's causing a lot of excitement. I'm not quite as excited as yet as Mark Sargent, but I'm hoping to get there. So we shall see.
Yeah, yeah. Well, like I said, it's we were excited even just the weeks leading up to even announce it. So, I mean, to contain it for us was really exciting, and then also to see the level of excitement of everyone. It was wonderful. And like I said, we have some really amazing surprises in store that we have not advertised, that we're not telling anyone. Just to, our idea was, we want to make sure that we're like under promising, over delivering. So really when it comes down to it, it's like you think you're getting what you get, you're going to get a whole lot more. And hopefully people are going to be pleasantly surprised, and they're just going to have a wonderful time, because there's just so many reasons to come to FE. I see, like I said, the community itself, just meeting friends. Like this could be a first time you could, share a room with someone. You know what I mean? You're going to have a few days. Some people are staying after the conference for a couple of days. They're going to hang out and just, so again, it's just going to be really, really special. And we want to make sure that everyone can be involved, even if they can't get there in person. We're going to make sure that there's definitely the ability to feel, a big part of the conference. And then going forward, like I said, we will keep moving on that, but at least everyone will know that this is something they can look forward to every year. So if you can't come this year, we hope to see you next year.
Superb. And on that note, I'll say a massive thank you to all of us who have joined us live in the chat room. Thank you very much for being here. And also Robbie D, thank you very much for putting on your conference and for being here this evening. It's been a real pleasure.
Thanks so much, Nathan. It's awesome. We'll do it again soon, I hope, and just do some amazing things. You've been a big, big part of this community from very early on. I think I remember your first Google Hangout, and I was even before you got your new equipment. You were just kind of messing around, but you were just like, I'm putting it out there. And so, yeah, I give you a lot of thanks for just your dedication and just kind of what you've brought to this community. So thank you.
Oh, I'm all red-faced for my outro now. So once again, Robbie, thank you very much for being here. And again, to all of you who've joined us live, I've been Nathan Oakley. I'll see you all in the next video.